ACC. We kick you off from Tallahassee, Florida, here on ACC Network. First of two games in a doubleheader of women's soccer coming your way tonight. So let's love the game from Tallahassee. Florida State playing on their home field, number 6 in the country. A win tonight guarantees they will play right back here again on Sunday in the first round of the ACC tournament. Get a chance to host that match. Wake Forest needs 3 points with a win to make it into the top 6. It needs a little bit of help from some of the teams above them as well. Physical already from the outset. Here's another one of the talented freshmen, number 18 for the Demon Deacons, Allie Flanagan, tied with Maxwell, who was out tonight with 5 goals on the season.
Well, and given that Maxwell's out, Flanagan's going to have even more of the onus on her in those counterattacking moments, because we expect, especially early on in this game, for Wake Forest to be compact and not open up this game too much defensively, because this is the opportunities that Florida State in these moments will try to take advantage of. Once there's space in between the lines, can they go, and can they go quickly?
Scythe, the player you highlighted, Lori, number 19 there in gold for Wake Forest. Florida State on their home field tonight wearing white. Gilchrist, one of the seniors honored before the game, a long-time Seminole, part of the 2023 National Championship, and obviously a big part of the ACC Tournament Championships that this Florida State team has won 5 in a row for the Seminoles. Hoping they earn the right to play for another, getting a good result here on their home field tonight. One of the top goalkeepers in the league right there, Valentina Amaral, so impressive, dominant in goal, tough to get past. Big collision there as Dempsey Brown, one of the leaders for this Demon Deacon team, went up in the air with Dudley and was worse for the wear.
It was a bit of an odd challenge there between Dudley and Brown. Still slow to get up.
Yeah, Dempsey Brown, a junior, a captain, and the player. When we talked to Tony DeLuz earlier today, we asked him, you know, who is an X factor or a player who maybe doesn't get talked about enough? And he said, look, Dempsey Brown is our anchor in the midfield. I mean, she is so important to this team that you talked about the turnover. 18 players gone from a year ago. Well, this has been really key.
Yeah, this is one of the players, why they've been able to be so steady and return after that College Cup appearance this past season. It's Brown in the middle to be able to just stabilize them, be the anchor on both sides of the ball, but utilize the leadership, and still seems to be in some pain. Here's the challenge in the end, and it's like maybe the forearm, not intentional at all, from Jordynn Dudley gets Brown, though, potentially in the face.
Tough way for this one to get started, just over a minute in and already a stoppage. I mean, I know this is tough, and everyone's concern is certainly for Dempsey Brown, but I think for all the players probably, and they came out with so much fire and energy. It's the final game of the regular season, and now you kind of have to find a way to reset.
Gonna have to utilize this regardless of whether or not Dempsey Brown's able to come back, and you can see the amount of Tony DeLuz has come out as well. Don't want to speculate, but a scary moment not to see her back up on her feet immediately.
Well, we all take a pause here for a moment. Player safety, of course, paramount, and this Wake Forest team coming in with a record of 10-3-4 overall, 4-2-3. I think you talk to any opponent who plays this Demon Deacon team or has played them this season. Brian Penske was certainly very complimentary of the work that Tony DeLuz and his staff have done, because it is one thing to take a veteran-laden group to the College Cup, as they did last year in that impressive season, second ever College Cup in program history for Wake Forest, and wound up making it all the way to the final and losing to North Carolina. It's another thing entirely to have so much roster turnover, to rely on so many freshmen like that one right there, Kylie Maxwell, who is out tonight, and still maintain the standards and level that you expect from your program. And Wake Forest just recently dropping out of the top 25.
Just speaks to the coaching staff and just the program in general for Wake Forest. even when you lose that many players, there's really a standard that they've kept. And one of the things that Tony DeLuise talked about is this is a scary moment right now.
But it's that culture, right? I mean, that's what you rely upon in really difficult moments on the field that involve soccer, and moments on and off the field that just involve your teammates. And this is, as you said, Lori, a really scary moment for Wake Forest. All of our thoughts and prayers with Dempsey Brown at the moment, who clearly looks to be in some duress and need of some help getting off the field. Eliana Ramirez, a freshman who had maybe the biggest goal of her young career, had the equalizer in that matchup against #1 Notre Dame in the Demon Deacons last game, is getting set to come on. I can't begin to imagine, Lori, how this changes things for Wake Forest. We just talked about what an incredible leader and anchor Dempsey Brown is, so her presence alone is a huge loss.
Well, especially in moments where you're chasing games, and also if you're up games, just her experience to be able to close things out. So it's going to be important. You see all of the teams right now huddling up, and for Wake Forest in particular, it's just going to be important that emotionally they know that this is going to be a challenge. Come together, start this game once the ball is put back into play like they started the game, as if it's the full 90 minutes again.
"29 seasons on the sideline for Tony DeLuise. This is never an easy moment for anyone to have to endure. They have brought the stretcher out for Dempsey Brown. Lori, I imagine at some point in your career you've probably had to go through something like this, either as a team who had a teammate go down, or even maybe being on the other team where you're trying to figure out how to keep focused, keep energized when all the air has just completely been taken out of the atmosphere here.
Yeah, it's really challenging, and it's more emotional than physical, obviously, just given that this game has just started. So that's where it's really important that right now the leaders of Wake Forest, and we mentioned Scythe coming into this game as well, just gather the team, make sure that everybody is just calm as possible in this together. Just try to manage your emotions. Is much easier for me to be saying that in this moment than the players out there, but that is exactly what you're trying to do, and typically the conversations that are being had.
And the good news, if they are currently in 4th but tied with 2 other teams in that 4th spot. Crowd applauding as Dempsey is being put onto the cart now. Both teams came together. It's been quite a lengthy delay here, obviously, as they have taken great care, as they should, making sure that Dempsey Brown is okay and being put in the best position as she is being taken off the field. And as she heads off, now it is up to that man and his team to try to figure out how to somehow stay focused emotionally on this game. Lori, you were talking about how challenging that can be. And for Florida State, too, to to come into this with a fire that they had from kickoff, because as I said, nothing guaranteed for the Seminoles right now. They do know if they get a win in this match tonight, they will not only be guaranteed into the ACC tournament, but they'll be hosting a first-round matchup here on Sunday. So Ramirez, that substitution has been made here in the 2nd minute. After 12-minute delay, we are back in action in Tallahassee. Jen Hildreth, Lori Lindsay, happy to have you here with us for this matchup. Demon Deacons, by the way, got a huge win over Florida State last season. Put up 4 goals in Winston-Salem on the Seminoles. Rihanna Hudson, bit offside on this trip down the field for the Seminoles.
But it's a really good early look, and that's exactly what we were talking about with Jordynn Dudley and her ability just to drop off, win possession, and then play the early ball in behind. And even though that Hudson was offside in that moment, it's still a really good run, because it's going to drop and force the Wake Forest defense to have to drop off a little bit and honor that type of pace, but also just the movement of Hudson up top.
Rihanna Hudson having an incredible season. The 6'2" sophomore has 11 goals to lead the Seminoles. And the facilitator right up there with her, Jordynn Dudley, spearheading this Seminole attack. Gilchrist lost it. Flanagan was there. Seminoles on the attack again. It is Taylor Suarez this time, sophomore. Simmons got a foot to it. And decision day, all but one team in action across the ACC tonight. Stanford has an early game on the road at Cal, and there has already been a goal in that game. The Cardinal with an opportunity to clinch a share of the ACC regular season title with a win. Charlotte Kohler has been phenomenal all season for the #2 Cardinal, and she sneaks this one in the corner. 2nd minute of that match. Cardinal already up 1.
Yeah, great goal that was from distance. Keeps it low, keeps it on frame. Well, this is going to be interesting, because immediately coming after that Dempsey Brown injury, this back line for the Demon Deacons is very high, making it difficult and not a ton of space. Well defended right there from Gilchrist, but not a ton of space for Hudson to be able to find. So she's going to have to curve her runs, the striker for Florida State. Curve her runs, keep herself onside, because that Wake Forest defense is stepping up, trying to deny any sort of pass in behind and looking for the offside.
Wake Forest able to earn the first corner kick of the match. Allie Flanagan earned it. Scythe to take it, 2nd in the ACC, an assist, put this up in the air, and Kate O'Keen, the freshman goalkeeper who starts once again, has now started the last 3 for the Seminoles, snags it out of the air. Una McCormack, one of the midfielders, along with Peyton McGovern and Taylor Suarez for Florida State. They've got that 3 in the back. Mimi Van Zanten so valuable wherever she is. Okeke in the middle, Gilchrist on this near side. Here's Van Zanten. Wouldn't be surprised to see her at times move up into the midfield in this match. Probably would be the preferred position for her, right, by Brian Penske, but he just needs that experience on the back line.
Oh, we loved what we saw from her when they played Notre Dame, especially in that first half. Credit to Notre Dame, they came back in that game, ended up winning, but that first 45 minutes was all about Mimi Van Zanten, just winning balls, disrupting the play for Notre Dame, and not really allowing them to get in to the style of play that they wanted to play. And seeing her on the back line tonight, but still could be instrumental in the attack when she drives out of the back line, tries to create 2v1s in those wide areas.
Suarez forced to play it back. Lola Ressler has been in the starting 11 now the last 3 matches for Wake Forest, making a difference. Flanagan, how much more falls on this freshman's shoulders with Maxwell out tonight? Flanagan has really regained her confidence, Tony DeLue's telling us. Felt she'd lost it a little bit. Can happen sometimes when you step up into a league like the ACC your first season, but he felt like she's really kind of gotten that swagger back last couple of matches.
I think some of that too is just finding her out wide more often. She was playing the center forward role and prefers to be out wide so she can get faced up, take on 1v1. Also very good in the press, so one of those players that they'll look to step up a little bit higher against Florida State at times tonight to try to dispossess their attacking half.
Kind of a cool evening here in Tallahassee,
Kinda.
at least for Tallahassee.
Exactly.
Overcast.
Like it's winter down here.
Certainly fall anyway. I don't know if we're going to go as far as winter.
Well, Dudley just tried to make a run in behind, but that's going to be the interesting aspect of this game because Wake Forest is doing a really good job of getting pressure on the initial ball carrier, and if they don't see the run immediately, that's when the offside comes. So initiating of the run from Dudley or Hudson up top, but then the player with the ball has to be able to see it.
Valentina Amaral, top 5 in the ACC in save percentage, picked up her 100th career save a couple of games ago against Pittsburgh. Just a redshirt sophomore. Big tackle, middle of the park. Daniel Radford is there, blows the whistle, and it'll be a set piece for the Seminoles. They try to take it quickly, but will be asked to bring it back.
Wrestler's not happy with that foul. Felt like she did a good job of being able to put herself into position to win it, dispossess, and then get faced up and play forward.
Suarez. I'll play this back to OKK. Shuffle the pieces around a bit. Van Zanten has McGovern. What did Brian Penske tell us earlier today? That he and his coaching staff a number of times have said to themselves, we just need to trust Peyton McGovern. She's going to do what she needs to do, whether it's higher up on the field or if she's playing the holding mid, that 6 role with Van Zanten behind her.
A clever little player and is really good in those tight spaces to be able to wiggle herself out of pressure, and this offers them a different look in the attack, but also the build, and allow for Van Zanten on that far side to join in.
Sophia Wynn delivering this ball into the box, and you better get it right. A hopeful ball in the box is not going to get it done against a goalkeeper the likes of Amaral. Has to be careful in the distribution. Look at Suarez. This is outside the area, and fortunate for Wake that it is. What a moment here, and that is all earned by the hustle of Taylor Suarez.
Just too nonchalant, trying to play out of the back, and Suarez just steps in, does really well. It's a clear foul right there from Wilson. Just gets her leg wrapped around. Suarez doesn't see her coming at the last second. You see just the body positioning, always facing the goal instead of on more the half turn to be able to get faced up quickly. Really good opportunity, but this is also a difficult position right on top of the box, center of the goal. Have both sides to go for, but it's a tight angle to be able to get up and over the wall, and also enough pace on it and dip to keep it on frame. Better option might be to go low, just drive it, see if you can force a deflection or even a save from Amaral.
Dudley, Suarez standing by. Amaral trying to get that wall set up in front of her. And we'll see what the Seminoles opt to do. Also have McGovern hovering just outside the 18-yard area. Suarez drives it. Oh, that can't be stopped. Taylor Suarez earns it, and then she finishes it off. 1-0 Florida State.
You gotta love the celebration as well. It's just an emphatic finish from Suarez. Just steps up, takes it so well. But it all starts with just the defensive pressure of Florida State. Suarez steps in, dispossesses Wilson, draws the foul, and then the set piece. And then just look at this, does such a good job. And the Wall's trying to take off one side of that goal. Suarez goes the other, just beats Amaral in that moment. She takes one step to try to catch the bend, if that's the way that Suarez is going to go, but she just strikes right through it. What a finish that is.
Well, Suarez certainly did not lose any of her energy after that 12-minute delay. She came out on fire, and now she has a goal to show for it, her 4th of the season, and a beauty direct off the free kick. And this Wake Forest team, as if they were not challenged enough already. They come into this down a starter in Kylie Maxwell. They lose a starter in Dempsey Brown. Now they give it away and are in danger of going down too. The whistle blows. And the Demon Deacons really needing to collect themselves here.
Well, look at the first touch from Simmons to go straight to goal. And this is one of the things that they had their eye on. It's just a narrow back line for Wake Forest to try to cut off those central areas. Well, Simmons does exactly what you want to do. Starts wide initially, and that first touch just cuts off the defender, heads straight to goal, forces the save, the rebound, and then you get the runners coming in. And just unfortunate for Florida State to not be able to find the back of the net for the second goal in quick succession.
Well, this is a team that has been up there in terms of the top attacks in the country all season long. They are currently 7th in the nation in goals per game coming into this match tonight. And that Seminole attack, maintaining possession here. Win earns a corner for Florida State, their first.
Well, it's just been all Florida State since Dempsey Brown went down, the anchor in the midfield for Wake Forest. Really, they've been under a ton of pressure defensively and just going to have to weather this storm to make sure they don't give up another goal off this set piece. Those Florida State high pressing, getting players forward, doing what we typically see them do, especially at home, which is just make so many defenses uneasy.
Well, it is guess who from the corner, and if you had any doubts about Suarez's set piece ability, you don't anymore. Not after the free kick. She serves this one in, tapped out but not far. Amaral couldn't get a real good glove on it, but still it does give the Deeks a chance to break out. They don't want a wide open game, but they'll want to take those moments in transition if they can get them.
Well, and they're going to have to pick those moments, and it's so difficult. You saw a wrestler does such a good job of big balls played in. Dudley, going to be easy for Amaral just to pick that one off. But you saw a wrestler on that moment trying to get her head up, and already Florida State has 3 players around her, 3 players dropping. That's going to be important in this game throughout for Florida State. Just the rest defense, the shape behind the ball when they do lose possession, to win it back immediately and then try to attack like we just saw through Dudley.
McGovern able to take it away for Florida State. Gilchrist. Maybe some added emotion for Gilchrist and the 5 other Florida State seniors honored before the game tonight. And one thing to remember in this one, a loss obviously would eliminate Wake Forest from ACC tournament contention, but the season that this Demon Deacon team has put together is a shoo-in. I mean, this team is headed to the NCAA tournament. Their RPI would certainly tell you that. 22 at the moment, come through this conference. Just 2 losses in conference play coming into tonight, just 3 losses overall. Body of work really impressive for this Wake Forest team, and still a long way to go in this one. And obviously they have shown some tremendous grit with what they've had to go through already tonight. Never easy to see a teammate carted off, and so early, 2nd minute of this match.
Oh, and such an important player too. the way that they set up Wake Forest right in the middle, Dempsey Brown. You can see there's just not a ton of angles of support to be able to play quickly for Wake Forest right now when they are in possession. It's down to a lot of that smothering defense from Florida State. So it's a little bit better right now from Wake Forest. If you can at least connect the first pass, then break out going the other side, have an opportunity.
Maybe one brewing here, as that's an iffy kind of a ball. O'Keen eventually does come out and clear it away.
Well, really well worked from Wake Forest. Exactly what we were just talking about. They're patient, found the other side, and then a big ball over the top to try to catch out the 3 center backs for Florida State.
I want to make one correction for you here, just looking around. We saw what looked like Ramirez warming up when Dempsey Brown had to go off. It was, in fact, this freshman here, Talia Zadian, who came on in her place. Zadian, an incredible player. I know Tony DeLuz really loves what she can do, especially as a center back. Had been out with an injury. See, she's got that sleeve on her right leg, and has played maybe about 25-30 minutes each of the last couple games, so not sure how long she'll be able to go tonight for Wake Forest, but she was the player, not Ramirez, who came on in place of Dempsey Brown.
Well, there's that big ball over the top that Wake Forest, when they do break the first bit of pressure from Florida State, they're looking for those balls over the top. Gilchrist had to be sure about it. Then you get O'Keen coming off her line as well.
And in a one-goal game, it just takes a moment. And as confident as this Florida State team looks, and I think they do, they have looked confident coming out of the gate here in their home field tonight. You referenced the Notre Dame match we called earlier this season. Maybe one of the best halves of soccer, Laura, you said you'd ever seen, but this team, with the aspirations they have, which always will be in the College Cup, winning national championships, winning ACC championships, they have to maintain that excellence throughout, and they have had matches that have slipped away from them, especially on that 3-game stretch where they had a couple of losses and a draw. Dudley.
When it comes down to the full 90 minutes for Florida State. Just making sure that they stay focused, continue to move. We have seen them play more possession-oriented style of soccer this season, but they also have the ability to go direct, so they can alleviate pressure that way. But the possession is going to be key, especially when Wake Forest drops into more compact position.
Well, there has been more goal scoring out on the West Coast. The Stanford Cardinal already with 2 early, and then their leader, Jasmine Ike, such a special player, makes it 3. And look, Lori, Cal losing is good news for Wake Forest. The Demon Deacons can find their way back into this one. Cal sits a point above Wake Forest in the standings, a point below Florida State.
I love that finish from Ike, and then immediately hands in the air, the celebration. Talked about how fun this time of season is, and see what those goals this point in time mean to these players.
Think about Stanford last year, their first year in the ACC, finishing 7th, did not make the ACC tournament, did make the College Cup, and that is a trajectory that perhaps a team like Wake Forest will be looking for if they can't find a result tonight. Back to the College Cup, get healthy again, get Maxwell. Hopefully there'll be some good news to report on the status of Dempsey Brown. Stanford would have the edge, at least for now. Notre Dame does play later tonight, and and the Irish would have the tiebreak over Stanford. So should they both win their matches tonight, Notre Dame would be your 1 seed. They would be co-champions of the regular season in the ACC. Second corner of the night for Florida State coming up. Suarez asking questions, but bending it a little too close to Amaral. Both outside backs have been so instrumental for Wake this season. An off play there by Brooke Miller. She and Scythe, so instrumental in this team, playing the kind of soccer that they want to play, quieting some of these incredible attacking teams like Notre Dame, who they just played before this one, like Florida State. And as Tony DeLuce told us, playing Notre Dame, not a bad warm-up when it comes to getting ready for Florida State. There are some similarities there, aren't there, Lori?
Formation-wise, at times you can see Florida State being direct. We referenced that as well, and starting to gain a little bit of control into this game after the injury to Dempsey Brown. Really under a lot of pressure defensively, but now you see them trying to maintain a little bit more possession, slow things down. Easy giveaway, though, that's going to cost them in these moments.
Yeah, this is nightmare scenario. Give it away. Dudley on it. Gets away from her. Did take a bump on the way in. And immediately the referee, I think, is going to go take a look at this play. Was not called a foul or a penalty in the run of play, but he is going to go look and see if perhaps there was contact worthy of a foul.
Well, it's one of the reasons that Jordynn Dudley, why she's so dangerous. It's just a little hesitation. She draws defenders and then hesitates, looks like she's going to take the shot, the deception, and then goes. Big touch that draws the foul. Potentially it looked like tough angle from us initially, but this will be a better angle. Right here, it looks like she's going to take the touch, then yeah, I don't know if there's going to be enough in that. Obviously Miller's got her arm right there. Well, actually, that's the best angle that we've seen. There does look like there's at least enough, but I think the argument will be that the ball is away from her. Amaral's coming off to make the play.
Yeah, that extended elbow certainly is incriminating, but to your point, Dudley already, the ball was well out of her reach, I think you would say, when that contact occurred.
I love this from Dudley, just the confidence that she has to take players on. And it's that big touch to be able to change the pace that draws that arm from Miller.
Daniel Radford trying to get as many looks as he can. Give you one other angle that we have of it here.
No, actually, the ball's not really that far away from Jordynn Dudley. She can come and get on the end of that with her ability. Takes a really positive first touch. And just the extension of that arm, I wouldn't be surprised if this is called a penalty.
Seminoles have converted 2 of their 3 penalty kick opportunities on the season. Of note, when these 2 teams met in the ACC semifinal a year ago, that was a 1-1 draw that wound up going to penalties. Florida State did win it in penalties, but in that shootout, both goalkeepers, it was Addie Todd at the time, had 2 saves for Florida State, and Amaral did have a save for Wake Forest. And in fact, she also saved a penalty in the regular season last year against Florida State. So maybe we see that again.
I think this is the argument that we have all the time, that these types of plays go to video review, is if it's taking this long, then how clear and obvious it is to be able to make this call. We've had 2 already, the scary moment with Dempsey Brown, and now this lengthy video review for this first half.
Yeah, remember, that is the standard, that it must be clear and convincing evidence that the play on the field was incorrect. And the call on the field, not the play, the call on the field, excuse me, there was no foul called. Well, the decision of the referee is that he saw a penalty, so Brooke Miller does get called for the foul. And here we go again. Amaral in goal. Florida State with a chance from the penalty spot.
Oh, it was that reverse angle that we saw that gave us an even better look, but I think we still go back to, you see Tony DeLuce shaking his head. If it takes that long to make that decision, it's the disruption in the game and the play. A good work from Jordynn Dudley to take players on, 2-3 players, and a big touch to be able to try to get on the end of it, draw the foul.
Yeah, certainly you understand the referees want to get the play right, but they also have been told to referee the game in front of them on the field, not let video review referee it for them. Regardless, the decision on this play was penalty, and it looks like Jordynn Dudley will be the one to take it. It'll be her first attempt of the season. This is a heavyweight showdown here. Jordynn Dudley, Valentina Amaral. Deep breath from Dudley. Drives it into the corner. Florida State leads by 2.
Well, Dudley's the one that draws the foul and then steps up, and much like we saw with Suarez, just steps up with so much confidence. This time from the penalty spot, Dudley does such a good job. The deception right there is what narrows the field defensively, gives herself a little bit more time to take that touch, draw the foul, and then it forces Amaral to go one way in the last second, just opens up her hip, top corner. What a wonderful penalty kick that is.
That's postseason form right there.
Exactly.
8th goal of the season for Dudley, and Wake Forest wasting no time getting all the way down. Flanagan gets the ball across right near the penalty spot. Wrestler brings it down. Good attempt there from Zadian, but right into the gloves of O'Keen.
Well, it's a real balancing act now for Wake Forest. It's to hold strong defensively and still find moments when they can attack and be efficient higher up the field. And knowing it's away from home, a tall task to be asked. Get 2 goals back against this Florida State team, especially once you start to open yourself up. It just plays right into their hands, the ability to find space in behind your back line. So it's all about just managing those moments and going together when they do decide to go.
Florida State 8-3-0 at home all time in the series against Wake Forest. Demon Deacons last picking up a win here in 2002. But also, this is the first time playing here for all of these Wake players. Oh, that's a giveaway and a bad spot. We know this Wake team wants to play. They want to possess, but you better be careful when you got players breathing down your neck like this.
Well, they also know that Florida State's going to press, so you have to really pick your moments at times just to alleviate the lines. But Suarez, once again, does such a good job, just a poke away to dispossess, and then you get the runners following up. So difficult because they smother you, they swarm. Make it so difficult to play against.
3rd corner kick of this first half for Florida State. Little different look this time. Alex Wood deep to collect initially there for Wake Forest. The band in the house here at the Seminole Soccer Complex tonight. You see that turquoise. It's a signature of the Seminole Heritage game. See it across multiple sports here at Florida State. Brian Penske has it on the sideline, and Kate O'Keen in goal has it as well. One of the warm-ups the Seminoles wore in that turquoise. Two players coming on for Florida State. Soleil Washington and Anasia Cologne. Sophie Faircloth, player who's been at Wake Forest the longest. Graduate student, has dealt with a lot of injuries throughout her career. She came on for the Demon Deacons, taking the place of Chloe Burst. Hudson and Simmons, the two off for Florida State. Well, the ball has not been down on this end of the field very often here in this match so far tonight. Washington does give an extra little element of speed in a different way in that front line. Offside though here. Well, the fall seasons are wrapping up soon. We'll have 2 ACC championships for you right here on ACCN and the all-new ESPN app. Coming up, our coverage of the men's and women's cross-country races begin Friday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern in Louisville. And Sunday, you better know what's coming on Sunday. That's women's soccer opening rounds getting going. Those will be on campus sites of the 3 and 4 seeds. Those, of course, will be determined tonight. Florida State earns one of those seeds if they get the victory tonight. The Duke Blue Devils also in control of their fate. They've got a top 25 matchup. The Clemson Tigers, who have won 4 in a row in Durham tonight. But if the Blue Devils win that, they will be the other team hosting on Sunday. Gilchrist switching it across to Van Zanten. You can see Wrestler hovering right around McGovern. Trying to limit the connections number 12 has been able to provide for Florida State in the midfield.
Watching McGovern, even when she's not on the ball, she's just orchestrating, organizing everybody. Telling her, the back 3, not to get in too much of a rush to play the ball forward, continue to move it side to side and make Wake Forest have to defend and shift.
Sophia Wynn, senior for the Seminoles. And a chance to counter here for Wake Forest, but that is quickly taken away. Washington back, just snatch possession for Florida State.
Oh, great ball. Really good positioning for Suarez.
Look at all the options. Dudley, a great number to call. Earned the penalty last time around. Tries to lay it off this time. It does sneak through a couple of players, but Emerald scoops it off the ground.
Well, Weeman for Wake Forest does a really good job to step to Suarez immediately. But Suarez that starts this play, picks it up, finds a really good spot right in front of the back line of Wake Forest, and then they're just off and running. Her and Dudley linking up really wonderfully tonight.
Suarez, originally from Charlotte, North Carolina, was a 2-time Gatorade North Carolina Player of the Year. And a good reminder of all of the other, I don't even think role player is at all correct in terms of identifying what she does, but we always talk Dudley, Hudson, maybe Van Zanten, but Suarez, man, what an option she brings. Wrestler here, maybe thought about it for a second, but wanted a better option, and that's when Florida State closed her down. Gilchrist, intercepted by Wilson.
Good touch.
Flanagan.
Yeah, really good touch from Flanagan. They got to use that as a positive. Get her the ball and allow her to get faced up. And why not? In this position, just take a shot, try to get something, keep it on frame, but they do a good job of dispossessing, and this is where they're going to want to win the ball. Higher up the field so you get Flanagan in these types of positions. No, she just gets underneath it. Her body's always leaning back, slices through it, but a bad attempt.
5 goals, 1 assist on the season for the freshman Allie Flanagan. and you can bet there have been some defensive goals set for this Florida State back line and really the entire team, just considering what the last stretch has looked like. And it has been a really difficult stretch. Top three teams for the Seminoles in the span of 15 days. It's a stretch that was certainly going to teach Brian Penske an awful lot about his team. And yeah, they did take some lumps. They conceded a lot of goals. You consider their first 5 ACC games, Florida State conceded just once. In their last 4, 10 goals against. So that is an area that they're going to be focusing on, trying to keep that clean sheet against the Demon Deacons tonight.
And I think some of that too is when they're up in these moments is how do they possess, how they continue to create in the attack. And we've seen a few in the last attacks that they've attempted is just balls over the top. And yes, you want to drive that Wake Forest backline back, but they do have the ability to move it side to side, find the wide areas. And I think once you think about progressing through the ACC tournament, the NCAA tournament, those are the variations that you're going to need in the attack to break down different defenses. So that's an area that they can really hone in tonight. And then it also helps defensively because they keep better possession. They really pin Wake Forest back.
Giveaway in the middle. Flanagan will still apply some pressure. O'Keen put it right back at her feet. Wood. Oh, so good. A couple of cuts for the senior Alex Wood. She's got a goal in each of the last 2 games for Wake Forest.
I'll nearly give away a goal. And O'Keen just gets it all wrong, trying to play out of the back, right into the path of Flanagan. As well initially, though, to come off her line, stay connected to her back line, just gets that pass all wrong, doesn't hit it confidently.
And my apologies, Wood does have 2 goals on the season, but those did not come the last couple of games. The senior starting to find her way. She was coming off a foot injury, and she'll make way now. Hannah Johnson, another senior for this Demon Deacon team, and one of those players getting a bit more of an opportunity. Had to wait her turn with a team full of seniors last year for Wake Forest that made its way to the College Cup. Di Natale. Over to Weeman. Those are the 2 center backs. Flanked by Miller and Scythe in that back line for Wake Forest. And Flanagan is a 1-woman wrecking crew right now for Wake Forest. Just gets absolutely crushed on that tackle. Wow. The ball's still in play, so the Demon Deacons, an opportunity now with some numbers up in their attacking third. KK, goodness. This a little bit more, though, being played backwards now. This Wake Forest team wants to have a rhythm. They want to possess. Florida State, too, excellent in that regard. Just also have that option of really attacking in transition a little more.
Well, Flanagan is one of those players that we said needs to be the outlet in those transition moments, has done well in the last few attacks for Wake Forest and Demon Deacons, and what a tackle that was from OKK, just coming off her line, timed it really well and just comes through it, gets all the ball.
Seminoles have gone to their bench a bit more in this first half. Maya Brandon, Lara Dantas, Jada McGrew all into the match. McGovern, Wynn, and Suarez, the 3 to make way. Just over 10 minutes to play in the first half here from Tallahassee. That ball put a little too close to Jordynn Dudley. Miller, bit of a shove on contact there, making sure Dudley didn't have another go at it. Here is Dantas.
The positions right now that Dudley picked up are excellent.
I mean, every pass has to be so precise if you're in the defensive third of the field, if you're Wake Forest.
Well, exactly, because Dudley's doing a good job of initially just hanging off and then reading it and timing the ability to step in, dispossess, and here we see her with especially Washington out in the field. Dudley getting a little bit higher up the field more often than not, too.
Freshman Jada McGrew has started a number of games, 8 of them this season. When Van Zanten was out, she has been excellent on that back line. Brian Penske telling us it was just a matter of how he was trying to get the right combination of players on the field. So as she has come on, Van Zanten has moved up into the midfield for the Seminoles. Another weapon there for a midfield that was already pretty potent in this match.
Well, here's that previous play. This is the positioning I was talking about from Jordynn Dudley. Just stays off of it, doesn't get herself too high initially, and then she can time that. As soon as that ball's played back, she's on him, trying to make something of it. Actually, it was Miller, the one that drew the foul on Dudley for the penalty kick that came across, made the play.
Johnson and McGrew, the two battling for the ball here. Got more women's soccer action coming up here on ACC Decision Day. NC State heading across town to Chapel Hill to take on the Tar Heels. Glenn Davis, Casey White will be on the call for that one. Coming up at 8 Eastern right here on ACC Network. That is another matchup where both teams in desperate need of a win to have a chance at getting into the top 6 in the ACC tournament. They will also need some help from the teams above them at the moment in the standings. North Carolina at 9th, NC State in 10th coming into tonight. Foul right in front of the bench. Will draw the ire of the Wake Forest side, but the whistle was blown, and so the Demon Deacons will get the free kick. Miller. Johnson able to get at least a little bit of a touch on it. Demon Deacons working that far side. Amaral wants to go direct to her front line.
Well, there's not much outlet right now, just with the setup for Florida State defensively. It's been really difficult for Wake Forest to get out. A lot of that has to do with them every time the ball's played back for Wake Forest, back line, everybody on Florida State takes a step up, condenses the field even more. They've always got good pressure on the ball carrier.
Shots 6-3 in favor of the Seminoles in this game. 5 of those 6 on target. 2 goals for Florida State, one of them coming from the penalty spot. This Wake Forest team went toe-to-toe with the top team in the nation, one of the top teams in the ACC, Notre Dame, in their last match. That was a 1-1 draw, and Wake Forest came back in that one to earn the draw. Now, this team not going to give up. Taryn Chance taken down, defended well by McGrew. Well, coming up on halftime, we're going to give you a look around the scoreboard, what it is so far anyway. Most games kicking off around 7 p.m. tonight. We'll catch you up on all you need to know here on the final day of the regular season. Get you ready for the postseason, which starts on Sunday with the ACC Championship by LI. Wake Forest going down in the 10th minute. 2 goals off set pieces for the Seminoles tonight. A goal direct off a free kick by Taylor Suarez, followed by the penalty kick after review awarded to Jordynn Dudley. Dudley will get a little break here before halftime. Coming off one of the most impressive performances I think I've seen from her in her career, what she did in that win on the road in Charlottesville. What a great game that was. Those two teams, Virginia and Florida State, both of them trying to snap out of a stretch where they hadn't won in their last 3, and Jordynn Dudley just refused to be denied in that game.
A sign of an excellent player as well. We've referenced her evolution throughout her career here at Florida State several times throughout this season, and just showcase though also her leadership, her ability to put the team on her shoulders and go after wins. Really catalyst to early goals here tonight as well.
Peyton Norris, the player to replace Dudley for these final couple minutes before halftime. Ball into the box, bouncing, and Amaral has it.
I like that idea. That's really one of the first balls that we've seen from the wide areas from Florida State. Try to whip it in behind the back line of Wake Forest for that early run.
That was a freshman, Maya Brandon. Has a goal, couple of assists on the season. Helps to win it away here. Washington picks it up. So quick with her feet off the post. Somehow that stays out of the goal. Washington can't believe it.
Well, and how quickly they go from defense to attack. This one's picked off right here and just put in a really good position. So they're going to be able to face up Washington. One thing on her mind, no one actually steps, commits defensively, gives her that time to get faced up and get rid of that shot. Unfortunate with the deflection off that far post. As a substitute, this is exactly what you want. Making the impact, getting on the ball.
Maya Brandon just getting stretched out a little bit there after that play. I saw Peyton Norris did get a foot to it. I mean, she just came into the match a few minutes ago after that shot from Washington. But to your point, Lori, pretty quick transition there from not just into an attack, but a pretty scary attack if you're Florida State. Seminoles looking for another. It's Norse again, and eventually the flag does go up for offside. Norse, redshirt sophomore, part of that NCAA championship team in 2023, tore ACL though, missed all of last season, so just trying to get back up to full speed. Second ACL injury in her career, also had one high school. If you're Brian Penske, I imagine, Lori, this is exactly what you want, in the sense that your substitutes are still being very dangerous and still composed on this end of the field.
And that's the key. And we said that after those 2 goals, is the best defense is really to keep possession, make Wake Forest work, and they can do that. Florida State, to see this game out, that's going to prove to be advantageous, I would imagine, going into tournament play as well.
Yeah, coaches always with an eye on a couple of goals when you get to this point in the season. Yes, number one is what's right in front of you, taking care of business, sticking to your game plan, getting the victory, but then also thinking about what's coming next.
Yeah, and managing these games with your substitutes. As here comes Wake Forest.
Yeah, this is Seif. You said she has the ability to do this. She is dangerous when she gets into the attacking third. Johnson wanted to go back to Seif.
And this is really always the challenge when you've had to defend so much like Wake Forest, is once you get into the attack, you don't have much in the way of legs or decision making as quickly as you want.
Halftime here in Tallahassee. Jen Hildreth, former ACC Player of the Year at Virginia. Lori Lindsay here in Tallahassee for this one tonight. First of a 2-game doubleheader to close out the regular season in ACC women's soccer. Get you set for the ACC Championship, which starts on Sunday here on ACC Network. North Carolina, NC State will close out the regular season later tonight in Chapel Hill. Taryn Chance getting the start in the second half for Wake Forest. Saw her come on toward the end of that first half for the Demon Deacons. Having to expend quite a bit of effort here trying to keep it in. Eventually it just rolls out of play. Chance, a senior from Stafford, Virginia. Didn't play at all last season. Had just 21 appearances her first couple of seasons. So she is one of those players, Tony DeLuz has said, has waited her turn. Getting an opportunity to play some valuable minutes for the Demon Deacons here. And make no mistake, regardless of the outcome of this match tonight for Wake Forest, this match will help prepare this team for the NCAA tournament. An RPI in the 20s for Wake Forest coming into tonight. They feel very confident about their body of work and what lies ahead.
Good defense from Wynn on this near side for Florida State. It's a positive start right now for Wake Forest, and you could tell Tony DeLuz had his team in a huddle, just chatting, making sure that they start this second half. Difficult first half, not only conceding 2 goals, but also just with Dempsey Brown going down early on, that really their leader, their anchor in the midfield. Really hope that she's okay, as she was stretchered off. This is a much more positive start, and I'm sure Tony DeLuz will feel some of the conversations that they had at halftime were advantageous to how they've started so far.
Sammy Weeman stepping up from the back. And you certainly do sense a Wake Forest team coming out in the front foot here in the second half. Miller, a little off the mark. Look at that. Good one going on in Durham, North Carolina. Clemson, Duke tied 1-1. Clemson struck first in that game. The Tigers have won their last 4. The Duke Blue Devils have won their last 5. So both of those teams in a good battle in Durham. And Duke at the moment, same situation as Florida State in the sense that they control their destiny. If they win against Clemson tonight, they will get to host on Sunday. And Clemson, they know they need to win, and they need some losses in front of them, much like Wake Forest. Little slip on the far side of the field. Good recovery.
Yes,
no
Spider
problem.
Light gets right up. I was just loving that, though, that work from McGovern, and we've mentioned her a few different times throughout this game, but just picks out the right passes, keeps the ball moving, gets herself face forward, and never really plays outside of herself, and that is really important in this Florida State team when they have so many high-level individuals.
Dudley gets across through. Boy, that really makes it tough on a defender to try to clear that ball cleanly.
And it's one of the reasons why McGovern is so important to this team, because she just connects. She's a linker, and then it allows for players like Dudley to be higher up the field. She can take these types of risks because it's McGovern that allows them to get higher up and gain a little bit more territory in the attack. A bad idea from Dudley.
Three corner kicks in the first half for the Seminoles. Here's the first of the second. Suarez doing the honors. Toward the back post. Still not clear for the Demon Deacons. Now an opportunity to move up the field. An immediate counter pressure applied by McCormack and the Seminoles. McGovern. Flick back from Gilchrist. Van Zanten popping up a little higher up the field and leading McCormack into the box. Oh, that was spectacular-esque. Almost spectacular finish.
Yeah, wonderful build-up. Look at that pass from Van Zanten. Knows exactly right into the path from McCormack, and then you get the three players in. But this is exactly where Brian Pinsky wants Van Zanten, even though she's one of those three center backs. Get her higher up the field, create those 2v1 situations in the wide area. So difficult to defend, especially if you don't do it on time. Wake Forest gets caught out, and they have another opportunity, Florida State, through this corner kick.
Suarez from the corner. Amaral got a fingertip to it, and now Florida State will try one from the other side. Three quick corners in succession here at the start of the second half.
A good touch from Amaral. Keeps her feet moving, even through traffic. Look at her get up. Times it really well with the left hand.
The referee noting he actually did stop the clock there, as it was taking Suarez a little bit of extra time to jog over to the corner. Well, Florida State has scored from a free kick, a penalty kick. Will they get the triple? Not too far off. Taking a look around other games in the ACC here on Decision Day. Guess who scored again? It's Stanford, and it is Ike. Another free kick goal, just like we had here in the first half from Suarez.
Really promising from Stanford. You're scoring in the run of play, scoring off of set pieces. What a fun attack to watch.
Flanagan has been dangerous anytime, really, the ball has been around her all night long. Great first year for the Demon Deacons. Missed it earlier. Wake Forest, without Kylie Maxwell, their leading scorer on the season, is Dudley. Just leaves defenders in her wake, if you'll pardon the pun. Shot!
What a build-up. And this is a Florida State team that's doing such a good job in this second half of kind of mixing up the way that they're attacking, but they're finding more space in the wide areas. They didn't look for that as much in the first half. We saw a lot of big balls over the top trying to catch Wake Forest out defensively with more verticality. This time finding that space, especially on that right-hand side, and getting runners into the box once it's delivered from right side.
See Maxwell looking on there on the sideline. Tony DeLue's hopeful he can get her healthy back in time for tournament play. ACC tournament if Wake gets there, but certainly NCAA tournament.
I think at this point in time, you're disappointed with the current result if you're Wake Forest, but it's obviously all about the players, keeping them healthy, making sure that they are okay first, and down 2-0. Last thing you really want to do is be rushing to getting players back, especially with Maxwell and Dempsey Brown both out right now.
No rest for the weary as Dudley on it again. Spins, shoots, roofs it! Jordynn Dudley putting on a show in Tallahassee.
Brian Pinsky acts like he's never even seen it before. Sees that time and time again. Oh, what a finish this is. What an individual play from Jordynn Dudley. And one of the things that's so wonderful about this player is just finding the space. At times in the first half it was more central, now it's out wide, but her ability just to turn, keeps herself low, center of gravity, spins a couple of defenders, but knows exactly where she is and where the frame of the goal is. Just roofs it. It's the only place that she can go from such a tight angle. It gets so much behind it. Nothing that Amaral could do in that moment. Her second of the night.
Goal number 9 on the season, number 2 on the night for Dudley. And a beautiful setup ball from Suarez, but then Dudley really went to work doing the rest. Flanagan down for Wake Forest. And just adding to the storyline in case you did miss our first half, another challenge for this Wake team tonight. We talked about Kylie Maxwell not playing, and then second minute of the match, losing their captain, their anchor in the midfield, Dempsey Brown, who is just involved in a really scary collision. We had a 12-minute delay as she was carted off the field. So first and foremost, everyone sending their best wishes and hoping that Dempsey will be all right, but that is another really difficult challenge that this Demon Deacon team has had to contend with this evening. They have the free kick now, putting it in the box, a lot of bodies there. And these could be the exact scenarios that help this Wake team find a way back into this match. Looking for a quick response after the Dudley goal. Suarez nearly was able to turn the corner on Dina Talley. You know, as impressive as Dudley has been tonight, Suarez too would be right there in contention for player of the match.
Her ability to help dispossess, but I love the work in the angles of support from Suarez. Just knows exactly where she should be, knows where her teammates are, always scanning the situation when the ball's coming to her, knows where the pressure is.
Miller. Wake Forest, another great ball in the box. It's in front of the goal, and the Demon Deacons get one. Cato Keene just could not get her hands onto it, and Wake Forest finds their way onto the scoreboard.
And a little bit of a positivity in life for this Wake Forest team. Miller just sees a little bit of a gap, but this is the player that we talked about coming in from that left back position to help out in the attack. Scythe gets herself higher up the field and just keeps this one alive. A really good finish. Maybe would have gotten the penalty if it hadn't gone in. Looked like she was taken out as she was trying to see that into the back of the net, but again, gives Wake Forest a little bit of life, and that would be something that this Florida State team is disappointed in. Just one big ball over the top that they should have dealt with. And it's something that Brian Pinsky talked to us about this morning. Coming into this game, have to deal with those aerial challenges, especially in their 18-yard box defensively. Didn't take care of it and cost them a goal so far, and allows for Wake Forest to try to get themselves back into this game.
That's been an area of concern, whether it's been defending aerially in the run of play or on set pieces. It's been a focus for this Florida State team, which, as I mentioned, now has conceded 11 goals in their last 5 games. Good step through McGovern. leading for Dudley. Will we see a hat trick? She is taken down. Play was outside the area. Di Natale, tough angle, but in the eyes of the referee, got the ball first. Let's see.
Yeah, that's a good tackle. Really good tackle.
Well done. Senior who did not start a single match in the first 3 years of her Wake Forest career, only made 13 total appearances, and this year has started every match and scored her first career goal. So she has become a big part of this Wake team in this, her senior year. Hudson, Dudley. If she stayed on, this is trouble for Wake Forest. Dudley, no, stopped by Amaral. Is part of that, Lori, Wake pushing a little bit, taking a few more chances here, chasing the game?
Well, just one ball, but you see a little bit of the disorganization because they are trying to send more numbers forward, but it's also about Jordynn Dudley's positioning. Can just stay a little bit wider, know they have good shape behind. So immediately she's the first outlet as they do win it.
Chance to host in the ACC Championship on the line for Florida State tonight. Round 1 game would be back here in Tallahassee on Sunday. Seminoles hang on for this victory. Scoreline in the regular season meeting between these two teams was 4-1 Wake Forest last year in Winston-Salem. Perhaps Seminoles looking to return the favor. They did get the better of Wake in the ACC tournament semifinals last year.
It was a lovely little ball in for McGovern, but then the next ball has to go wide because I like that she just slices it into the path of Dudley. That will narrow Wake Forest defensively, and then the wide areas are open, but it just took too long to get out there. Then they're dispossessed. Now they have to start back over again, but that is the ability of McGovern, just to disguise her passes at different times.
Does feel like, Lori, there are just a lot of different ways that Florida State can get into their attack. They can use the wide space in their wings. So Wake Forest will make a run for this, coming the other way. Flanagan has great speed, just a little slip there at the end. She smacks the ground in frustration.
It looked like she had a step on Gilchrist at the last second, then Gilchrist able to catch up, make the play. The work that Flanagan's putting in on that far side, exactly what they need, especially with Maxwell out, without Dempsey Brown in the game.
Jordynn Dudley, a couple of chances to complete the hat trick, but she'll head to the bench, at least for now. Could see her come back in depending on how things go. Washington Cologne back in the game for Florida State. No rush here from the Demon Deacons as they take it over right around midfield. Miller, who served the beautiful ball in that eventually led to the Scythe goal. Van Zanten stepped in to take it away. McCormack knew exactly where she wanted to put it. Another chance at Amaral. A big intervention there.
Great work from Amaral. Had to be sure about it. Time her tackle or coming out.
Washington, the player involved in that collision, back to her feet, calling for it again. Wants another bite at the apple.
Well, and this is when they've been so good all night long, is in those positions to be able to dispossess. But then right here, they got numbers. Amaral comes off her line, gets down quickly, makes it predictable for herself.
Win all the way across. Hudson still there. Amaral standing so tall. Still not clear. Hudson! Somehow, Florida State scores it in the end. Amaral doing acrobatics in there to keep the ball out of the goal, but eventually the Seminoles just kept at it and eventually got the goal.
Oh, that's the difference. Amaral's doing such a good job. 3 saves in that sequence. But the amount of players, and how many times are we going to say this? They just smother you. They win the ball back higher up the field. They make you feel like you have more time than you do. But even in these moments, there's good pressure defensively. You got numbers back behind the ball if you're Wake Forest, but it doesn't matter because so does Florida State, and they just keep hunting. They keep finding ways to get on the end of it. McCormack, the last second, just sneaks in. No one picks her up, gets to the loose ball first as they're trying to clear their lines, Wake Forest, but a lot of credit to Amaral, doing whatever she can to keep those initial opportunities out of the back of the net.
Just a lot of bodies for Florida State in the box. It was Una McCormack, as you said, who eventually did put it away. 4th goal of the season for the Virginia transfer. Well, we see our official Daniel Radford over on the side to review this. Would imagine potentially looking to see if there was offside involved at some point. As I said, it was a lot of chaos, confusion in the box before that goal. Go back and take a look at it, see if we can catch anything. Watch McCormack here.
This is where I'm confused. They've scored the goal. It was called a goal on the field, and now we're taking this video review for the second one already in this game. Why? No one was even... It does not make any sense for me.
It doesn't seem to be an offside there. If you look at where McCormack was when that shot was initially taken, the defender, did they have possession of it? Even if they did, it still looked like there were 2 players there. So maybe, was there a moment earlier in the sequence that was just missed? If you see the assistant referee, top of your screen, he's not raising his flag. And maybe it's just that the goalkeeper came out, so then you start to wonder, were there still 2 defenders back? Well, it's a good goal, as we thought. Confirmed, I suppose, by video review. McCormack now can smile. Wasn't so sure there for a few minutes. And it is 4-1 Florida State.
But the thing that is why it is frustrating is not, I love that they're looking for the goals to make sure they are, but we've already had a huge stoppage time. Now we had another delay for a video review, and now another delay. And these games are going to be so long, and it's the same thing that we talk about with stoppage time. And whether it's in the World Cup, these games start to be so long. So these players aren't even out here for 90 minutes. And then when you think about them having to turn around and play a game on Sunday, some teams traveling.
Yeah, it is a process that is still certainly working through some things. Referee crew wants to get it right. That's the end goal ultimately, but certainly can see some of the questions at least on that last review for sure. Jada McGrew, Laura Dantas checked back in for Florida State. Seminoles now have reversed that scoreline. I lost my voice for a minute. That Wake Forest had in the regular season in Winston-Salem against the Seminoles last year. Lola Ressler trying to apply a little bit of pressure there for Wake Forest. I mean, you do get the sense, and I've been impressed with how Wake Forest came out in the second half, and it just seems like they continue to have things go against them that have been well earned by Florida State. You know, the Seminoles are a tough team to keep contained for 90 minutes. But they're just trying to kind of get through this healthy, right? And think about some rest coming up. And Florida State thinking about more goals. Washington, a little slip at the end.
Yeah, we've seen a few different players already slip. Flanagan on the other side for Wake Forest. And that time, Washington as well.
Well, across decision day, Stanford currently in the lead with 5 goals. So Florida State maybe playing a little catch up there. Kitahara adding to that score line. No score yet between Boston College and Virginia. Cavaliers also control their destiny. They win their end of the tournament. Duke, Mia Minestrella, a brace to come back for the Blue Devils, take the lead over Clemson. Duke looking for the opportunity to clinch one of those top 4 seeds. So it would be Duke and Florida State hosting if these current results hold. Okeke on the field there for Florida State. Been such a wonderful addition to this team this season in the back line. She and Gilchrist developed a great partnership. Obviously Van Zanten. I mean, this is a tough back 3 to break down. They've had some moments they need to work through this season. They know that, but look how quick Washington hops onto this ball. Can she keep her footing? She does. Got set for the shot. Slipped last time down. Norse on the field, gets it now. Came on for Hudson. So both Hudson and Dudley on the bench, and Florida State not looking any less dangerous in their attack.
No, in fact, they have even more fresh legs coming on.
Wake Forest, big switch to Chloe Burst. Player you'd want, trying to go one-on-one. If you get an opportunity, usually that would be Maxwell, Flanagan. Those are the two who have been most effective in those roles this season. Maxwell out for the game tonight. Flanagan has been effective on the other side. A few times she's gotten an opportunity. Miller.
Good work, really good work from McGovern. It's all those little details, because there's so much ability in the attack that we've talked about, regardless of who's coming on, making an impact, wanting to score goals. But McGovern is that one that just sits back there quietly, goes about her business, puts herself in really good positions defensively to help the back line.
Miller having to chip it over the head of McGovern that time. I want to give you our Week 10 ACC Network Saturday football lineup. You're going to see a lot of similar matchups to what we have going on here at soccer. At noon, it is Duke and Clemson. Then 6-2 Pitt, who have won 4 straight, head to Stanford to take on a Cardinal team that's undefeated at home. And finally, Florida State hosting, guess who? Wake Forest. That is in Tallahassee at 7:30 Eastern. All 3 games also available on the all-new ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. So do Clemson going on in soccer, and then football, Florida State Wake, same deal here in Tallahassee this weekend. Ramirez got it over to Wrestler, and stay with Wake Forest. It's going to be a deep throw for the Demon Deacons. Zadian tried to make a little something out of nothing on that turn. Well, Florida State has taken some opportunities to look a little more direct at times here. Do you mind that, Lori, in the second half?
Well, we saw that in the first half as well. No, why not? I mean, you got fresh legs coming into this game, want to give them valuable minutes, and if that's where the space is, it really is just about noticing where the space is. And early on in the second half, they had a lot of success playing out wide, especially on that right-hand side. See another player that's down. Really tough for Wake Forest right now.
Yeah, it's Dina Tale. I think it was Norse who was just coming through. Took Dina Tale out. Swung that knee right around.
Yeah, and that's the last thing you want to see, especially for Tony to lose some key players out.
Well, another moment here is Dina Tale gets tended to, and both teams will huddle up. Talked about the great perseverance of this senior who had just 13 appearances to her name and 1 assist before this season when she started every match on the back line for Wake Forest. Gosh, you just hope that's nothing too serious. This night's certainly not unfolding the way Tony DeLuz would have liked for many reasons. Been so proud of the work that his team has put in this season with all the turnover that they've had. Players like Dina Tale stepping up after waiting their turn in their careers and having this team sitting where they are right now. They just dropped out of the top 25, 10 wins on the season. Just outside the top 6 in the ACC. So great to see Dina Tale at least back up and helped off. And if you're looking for NC State, North Carolina, that one has just gotten underway. You can find that on ACC Network Extra. We will get you out to Chapel Hill as soon as we are through here in Tallahassee. An important match for both of those teams. Outside chance still for NC State, maybe, depending on other results, if they can get a win. What a great comeback season it has been for NC State after a rough start to conference play. And North Carolina has dropped a couple here that have them in a precarious position, at least as far as the ACC tournament is concerned. Flanagan comes back on. Dina Tale off to the bench, and certainly Wake Forest hoping that is the last they have to see of a player in distress tonight. Jordynn Dudley, a brace on the night to lead this Florida State team, which has 4 goals on the evening. Demon Deacons were able to find a goal. Brooke Miller served a ball in from just about that same spot where she just was. Found Sierra Scythe on the backside. And Washington just always a threat. She and Norse, the two off the bench tonight for Florida State. Those outlets in case Wake has gambled and put a few more numbers higher up.
And that's the threat they're always going to possess, is that ability to be direct, but also some of the possession that we've seen as well. But this is a team that does want to go as quickly as possible, Florida State, into the attack. So if it's on, one ball over the top, they'll be happy with.
They do have that duality, don't they, Florida State, that they can possess and they can work the ball around, build through their midfield, but then they also have such great ability to get forward in a hurry and some great athletes that can challenge defenders if they do get into a foot race. Seeing a little more of this in this second half. Washington and Norse, the beneficiaries when the ball has gone long. 12 shots on goal tonight for Florida State. But speaking of shots on goal, Stanford has had their fair share as well. 7 goals for the Cardinal, looking like they will indeed clinch at least a share of their first ACC regular season title. They'd win it outright if Notre Dame does not get a victory in their game tonight. The Irish at Pittsburgh. Been kind of a strange game here tonight because we had so much energy off the top, and credit to Florida State, knowing where they stood, knowing what was needed. These are live standings. If all the results hold as they are at the moment, Seminoles and Duke would be 4-3 respectively, both hosting a quarterfinal on Sunday. Notre Dame started at 7 o'clock in their match at Pitt, so we'll see what happens. But when you have to go through lengthy delays due to some video review and then obviously some terrible injuries, which you hate to see for anyone, it makes for a match that doesn't feel quite as natural as maybe you would have anticipated coming into it, and the energy that you bring last day of the regular season.
It was just a challenge too from the start for Wake Forest. They knew it was going to be a challenge to begin with, just with the firepower and the attack of this Florida State team, but they felt like they were prepared given the result that they got from Notre Dame and the similarities between the formation, how direct both teams can be at different times. So felt like they were ready for it. But when you start to have stoppages in play, instrumental part into your midfield of Dempsey Brown going down in the opening minutes, it all just takes a toll. Credit to them at least getting 1 goal back so far.
Washington. McGovern. How's it go? Big save! Amaral had to stretch out highlight reel style for that one.
And good work from Amaral. Just to keep her feet moving, see it the entire way, but love this from McGovern. Just follows up, doesn't rush in, get there too early, allows herself to be able to take that touch to set it up. Strikes it really well, had some bend and dip on it.
That would have been the first career goal for McGovern. Just had to double check.
I would have liked to see that celebration.
Well, it was, as you said, a beautifully struck ball, and I really liked too in the end that Amaral did not just punch it away. She looked like she maybe bobbled it a little at the end, but that's only because she tried to get both hands behind it, not give up any kind of a rebound too far away from her. You could see Tony DeLuz a few moments ago looking at his players, giving that breathe, calm down, we're going to get through this. Brandon on for Jada McGrew, who's looked really good, even playing higher up on the field for Florida State when she's had that opportunity with the substitutions tonight. Also do want to note that Florida State got their 2 players back who were away with the USU 17 team at the World Cup. That team knocked out in the round of 16 in penalties to the Netherlands. So Evan Osteen, another goalkeeper, and Anya Torre both just got back. What did Brian Penske tell us maybe a day or so ago? So we're going to be available tonight, but they will add to the depth of this Florida State squad as they go forward. Giveaway by McGovern. Flanagan, Wood. Demon Deacons still have it. Burst. Couple players there. Chase down at the end line and out for a corner.
Good sequence of play from Wake Forest. Just a step up. When we saw Tony lose a second ago, to tell his team to start to take a few more risks, get higher up the field, put a little pressure on, and you see what they can do in the attack when they do get more numbers. It's just been tough all night long because when they're pinned back, you only have one player really trying to go at their 3 center backs of Florida State. Not a lot in it.
Corner. Punched away. O'Keen, once again the starting goalkeeper, the freshman getting the starting nod now the last 3 matches for Florida State. Flanagan fouled there by Gilchrist. The band just getting announced here in Tallahassee, getting a little love from the crowd in case you're hearing some noise. There they are. Help provide a little more atmosphere here tonight, and a great crowd watching this 6th-ranked Florida State team put up 4 goals so far and try to book their spot into the ACC tournament quarterfinals. Could hear O'Keen clearly call for that ball. Came out, didn't get it cleanly, but did hang on in the end. And these are important moments for her too, Lori. I know that Brian Penske and his staff feel really strongly about their whole crew of goalkeepers, but they want one that is going to dominate that area, much like you see Amaral do. And look, I know Amaral's conceded 4 goals tonight, but Florida State has 13 shots on goal. I mean, it has been a pretty incredible performance. 9 saves for Amaral, or it could be a lot worse.
Well, when you think about tournament play and postseason play, you need to have your goalkeepers come up with big saves at different times to keep your team in it. That's what you always ask, and with the way that this Florida State team plays and are aggressive with their approach because they want to attack, they want to live on the ball as much as possible, then that's going to be the case for Florida State, because every once in a while they're going to need a goalkeeper to be able to make that save if a team's able to break out in a counterattacking situation, or even on the aerial presence that we talked about when balls are served in or on set pieces. You need to have that commanding goalkeeper.
Whistle does blow here, and Florida State will take control. Well, across the country, Stanford Cardinal have done their job. That one is final. 8-2, the final score for the Cardinal, who put a big exclamation point on their regular season. And they know that they'll be hosting, or they won't be hosting, excuse me, they have a bye. And then they'll head to Cary, North Carolina. Will they be 1 or will they be 2? That all depends on how Notre Dame does tonight now against Pittsburgh. Irish do hold the tiebreak advantage. Appreciate all of our friends at the ACC and ACC Network helping us keep those straight. all the different tiebreakers that come into determining the seeding for the ACC tournament. Starts with head-to-head and then continues on down after that. And they broke it down, and so we do know that Notre Dame has the edge over Stanford if both teams win tonight. If they'd gotten as far as goal differential, that could have been a problem, I guess, with 8 goals going up on the board for the Cardinal tonight, but I don't think it was going to go that far. Should be a fun ACC tournament, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been a fun season.
Yeah. And you credit teams like Cal, who, look, I know they had a tough finish here tonight, but some different teams. Cal, Louisville up there in the top. And let's now take a look at our all-state plays of the match. They belong to the one and only Jordynn Dudley.
Dudley's been so good in this game. He's getting a little bit of a necessary rest in the second half, but earns the penalty kick and puts it away so easily. And then this is just world class. Spins, keeps herself low to be able to bring the defender away from her, use the momentum of that defender to be able to turn and get that shot off at such a tight angle. Make 2 for her tonight.
13-game streak now with at least a goal or an assist, and as you just saw, 2nd straight game with a brace for Dudley, so she just continues to level up her performances as her team needs her down the stretch.
Well, they certainly do, because this is a team that has so much ability, but she really is their leader and one that can possess so many different ways that they can attack.
Mariangela Jimenez, Noreen Ahmad out there now for Florida State. You could see the referee just hovering nearby, waiting to see if he was going to allow advantage to go or would call the foul. Did eventually call the foul, so that'll set up a free kick for the Seminoles. Jimenez transferred into the Florida State program a couple of years ago. One of 6 seniors honored tonight, along with Dantas. Gilchrist, header here, chance in front. No, it is taken away instead by Amaral.
Well, she was looking for somebody to go, but just can see that there's a Wake Forest team that's put a lot into this game, had to defend a majority of it when any sort of outlets, and then Florida State with these fresh legs.
Washington is just such a handful. You could tell Miller was doing all she could to keep Washington contained. Dantas, by the way, I think I just gave her a couple of extra years that she didn't deserve, just a sophomore for the Seminoles, so still a few more years to go if she so chooses. Gilchrist, certainly one of those players you've seen wearing the garnet and gold for the past few years, and what a joy that has been watching her on the back line for Florida State. Nice move on the far side by Cameron Simmons. Well, Louisville hosting SMU this evening in their final game on decision day. Cardinal having a great season and looking to keep it going here. Emerson Jennings has the goal, and the Cardinals, if they can get a victory, know that they will hang on to one of those top 6 spots. So good start for Louisville in that one against SMU. 15 shots on goal tonight by Florida State. That is a new season high for the Seminoles. 15 of their 18 shots, Lori, have been on goal. Let's just talk about that for a second. That is the type of efficiency you have to love if you're a coach.
Absolutely. And when you're in these, we've said this the entire match, when you are in these situations at this point in time in the season, that's what it's all about, is putting your chances away, because you know that's not always going to be the case when you get that many opportunities.
And certainly some of that you give credit to a really good goalkeeper in Emerald, who's now up to 11 saves on the season. Excuse me, in the game. Feels like a season probably to her. All the work she's had to do tonight. I'm telling you, these players coming off the Florida State bench are hungry. Jimenez looking inside. And a whistle actually Florida State for the foul there. Ashlyn Anderson, a freshman, number 24, was one of the intended targets. Virginia Cavaliers also trying to punch their ticket to the ACC tournament. Maggie Cagle would have an opportunity after that takedown in the box and put the penalty away, which she did. So the Cavaliers up over Boston College. 1-0 the score in that game after that penalty. Reminder, if you are looking for North Carolina NC State, you can find that on ACC Network Extra or the ESPN app. And we will have it for you here in just about 5 minutes time. As soon as we go final here in Tallahassee, we'll have the Tar Heels and the Wolfpack. Anderson back to Dantas. Well, it certainly feels, Lori, like Florida State has gotten a lot of what they would have wanted out of this one tonight.
They'll be disappointed with conceding the goal. Again, exactly the way that Brian Pinsky said, has been a vulnerability in an area that they really need to clean up, which is just a ball served in. They don't deal with it aerially and give Wake Forest a little bit of life, but the response after that has been excellent. It's really just been all Florida State, haven't allowed Wake Forest to get a ton of looks on frame and really get themselves into this game.
Some nice combination work there from Alex Wood and Chloe Burst. And, you know, on the other side for Wake Forest, like, it has been a difficult night. How do the Demon Deacons move forward after this?
Oh, just regroup and make sure that they get everybody healthy. And I think that break will serve them well, because this is a team that really felt like, even though there was looks like another player's down.
Yeah, it's okay, Kay. Yeah, down at the penalty spot. And as she gets stretched out, to your point there, it's maybe a bit of a silver lining for Wake Forest. Do they want to come in and win this game? Absolutely, especially coming off that great result they had against Notre Dame. But now they will be eliminated from contention for the ACC tournament, and what that means in a world where they're going to the NCAA tournament, which they absolutely should be as an at-large, they get a little extra rest.
Yeah, and that is important. I mean, we know, because we see these games all the time, but this conference is so challenging. I mean, even look at the current standings that we've shown several different times. In Virginia, there were several weeks where they were #1, and now they're going to be 5th if everything stays the same in the ACC, and they were #1 in the country. So I think that just speaks to how tight this conference is. Every game is so challenging, and you really are putting in the work. I mean, in this game, we're seeing OKK have to go down. It's like a calf cramping potentially. Just seeing some big tackles across the board. So all of that makes this conference so challenging and so exciting. But for Wake Forest to get a little bit of a break before they head into the NCAA, get everybody healthy is needed at this point in time, especially when they lost so many players and no one really knew what they were going to look like coming into the season.
Yeah. Hopefully Kylie Maxwell and Dempsey Brown too will fare better after not being able to play at all tonight for Maxwell, and then just the first couple of minutes for Brown after she was taken off. Dina Tale also helped off the field for Wake Forest, so sending well wishes over there to Winston-Salem over the next few weeks, to Tony DeLuz and his squad. Been a tough one tonight here in Tallahassee. I think like everybody, probably just ready for that final whistle to go here, but obviously OKK wouldn't have gone down unless she felt like she really had to here with just 3:43 to go. Was clearly in some pain. Rarely comes off the field for the Seminoles. Transfer from NC State is just slotted right into the middle of that back three between Gilchrist and Van Zanten usually. Sophia Wynn come on to replace OKK. Wow, a couple of penalties now for Virginia. First it was Cagle, now Ross. So the Cavaliers with a 2-0 advantage over Boston College. And for all the shuffling and shaking up that could have happened here on decision day tonight, it'll be interesting to see if we maintain the same order we came in with. That could happen if the results currently that we're seeing across the league hold. Stanford won their match. We knew they were going to be 1 or 2 anyway. Notre Dame in action at Pittsburgh now, but Duke winning, Florida State winning, Virginia winning, Louisville winning, all those teams win. There's your top 6. Crowd doing their best to inject a little late life into their team here in a match that's gone nearly 30 minutes beyond what was anticipated due to some injuries and video review tonight. So hang in there, Tar Heel and Wolfpack fans. We've got you covered. It is coming, we promise, the final game of the regular season in ACC women's soccer. North Carolina, NC State coming up from Chapel Hill just as soon as we say goodbye here from Tallahassee. Anderson cuts it to her right, and another save and another shot on goal. As those numbers continue to rise, a dozen saves now for Amaral. Shot and a slip there as she goes down by Flanagan. One minute to go. Florida State taking care of business tonight in Tallahassee. 4 goals on the night, 2 of them from Jordynn Dudley. Wake Forest Demon Deacons, certainly a battle of attrition. Some players going down, having to fight from behind since the 10th minute when Suarez scored directly off a gorgeous free kick.
A really good performance from Florida State and regained some momentum. A Virginia game proved to give them a lot of confidence. A win away from home last Thursday, came in front of their home fans, senior night. Really made sure that they would control this game from start to finish. Did just that.
Florida State
victorious tonight, 4-1 the final score. The Seminoles are into the ACC tournament.